Some pieces of wood sat around a fire, keeping warm together. An old stump watched the other wood shivering from the cold. It broke its own cane in two, lit it with a match, and added it to the fire to warm everyone. The cold night lit up with the warm glow. Everyone held out their hands to warm them, but before long, the flames grew smaller. Snow started falling from the sky, and the night grew colder and colder. A small twig plucked its only leaf and dropped it into the fire. The flames brightened in an instant. The others followed its lead. A red branch broke off a piece of itself. The old stump tore off some of its bark. A birch stick snapped off a dry twig and tossed it into the fire. Only the big stump did nothing. Everyone looked at it, but it just crossed its arms, refusing to share any of its branches. The small twig reached out to tear at its bark. The big stump punched it. The small twig had to give up. The red branch, unable to stand the cold, became the first target. The birch stick saw how weak it was and hinted to the big stump that it could break off the red branch's head to use as firewood. The big stump pounced on the red branch. The old stump quickly covered the small twig's eyes, not wanting it to see the cruelty. But the small twig broke free and charged at the big stump. Its tiny body was knocked flying by the birch tree. The old stump couldn't stand by anymore and stepped in to help. The big stump kicked it over. It rolled right into the fire. The small twig tried to save the old stump, but in the next second, the old stump was swallowed by roaring flames. The big stump broke off the red branch's head, sat on its body, and enjoyed the warmth from the old stump burning. The small twig stared blankly at everything. It charged at the big stump again, but the big stump easily caught it. It would be thrown into the fire too, but it bit down hard on the big stump's finger and barely escaped. The birch stick laughed at the small twig for overreaching, but the next second, the big stump tore off the birch stick's branches, stuffed them in its mouth, then tossed the birch stick and the red branch into the fire together. The birch stick couldn't believe the big stump would treat it this way. The small twig, hiding nearby, crept forward quietly. It pretended to warm itself by the fire and picked up the old stump's bark from the ground. The big stump didn't notice it. The small twig took the old stump's bark and walked to the big stump. The big stump turned around and was terrified by the old stump's. The small twig took the chance to hit the big stump. The big stump fell into the fire. Flames shot up around it. It struggled to toss the old stump's bark into the fire too, then sat down calmly to warm itself by the flames.